Okay, great and glorious, soon to be famous one day, Nick Dutch and all the rest of that. Lulu.com, buy my book if you like. If you don't want to, you don't have to, never mind. But, you know, it's got a cool title, you must admit that. Hey, cool, look at that. Ain't that nice? Anyway. Right, here we go. Let me tell you the story about the Treaty of the Two Groves. Back in 2019, before the world folded in on itself, there were these two pagan communities in Northern California who'd been locked in what historians will probably call the 20-year Willow War, although nobody remembers who threw the first acorn. On one side you got the Sequoia Circle, led by Rowan Blackthorn. Think your classic Reconstructionistic Druids, the kinds who learned Old Irish for fun and can tell you exactly which Celtic tribe lived on any given hill in 300 BCE. They've been hoarding rituals in the same grove of redwood since 1987, casting circles with oak leaves and conducting legal battles to protect old-growth forest from logging companies. Proper stuff. On the other hand, you've got the Moonstone Collective, eclectic Wiccans with a strong Dianic bent, led by Luna Silverwolf. She's got a PhD in environmental science and could hex your credit score whilst explaining carbon sequestration. Apparently, she's a bright girl. They claimed a nearby grove of bay laurels, holding women-only, full moon rituals since 1994. Their circles woven with silver threads and a kind of feminist magic that makes the trees themselves stand a little straighter. Don't know what that particular phrase means, but I don't know. The conflict started over mushrooms. Specifically, a rare patch of candy cap mushrooms that grew in the liminal space between their groves, fungi that smelled like maple syrup and were sacred to both traditions for different reasons. The Druids claimed historical precedent. They'd been harvesting them since 1989. The Dianics claimed divine feminine sovereignty. They'd been leaving offerings set there since 1993. And by 2019, it had escalated in what the locals called the Great Mushroom Cold War. Both groups had developed elaborate, passive-aggressive, magical protocols. The Druids would leave offerings in mead and carved acorn cups, then cast protection spells so specific they could ward off a particular strain of mycelium. The Dianics responded by waving bay leaves into dream catchers that would redirect any patriarchal forest energy back to its source, essentially magical spam filters. But here's where it gets beautiful. Both groups were fighting to protect the same 40-acre forest from the same developer. That's the point. One thing which could connect them. A tech billionaire wanted to build a mindfulness retreat center, which is like glass domes and hot yoga studios, taking up the space, you know. And suddenly, the mushrooms didn't matter as much as the mycelial network beneath them. The developer's surveyor showed up on Tuesday in March wearing a Patagonia vest and carrying tablets that mapped the land in ways that made both the magical traditions feel equally obsolete. They were particularly interested in the mixed hardwood stand, the exact patch where the two groups overlapped. Rowan and Luna found themselves testifying in the same county hearing, sitting next to each other for the first time in 2 decades. Both wore their ritual jewellery, Rowan with his antler bone torque, Luna with a silver moon crown, and both felt the same sick dread when the planner said, "Mixed use potential for the land." Rowan spoke first, voice rough as bark. "That grove has been sacred since before your company had a stock ticker." Luna followed, quieter but steely. "The women's mysteries held there are older than your term sheets." They left the hearing together, walking the disputed path in silence until Luna stopped at the candy cap patch. "Our roots are tangled," she said. Rowan knelt, fingers in the soil. "Maybe the mushrooms were never meant to divide us." Maybe the mushrooms were never meant to divide us. They're mushrooms. They're not meant to divide anyone. They're just mushrooms. Just live there. Just leave the mushrooms. Anyway. They met there every dawn for a month, First just sharing coffee, then comparing notes on soil pH and moon phases. Rowan taught Luna the old Gaelic names for the trees. Luna showed him how the mycelium network looked like, and neural pathways under UV light. One morning they arrived to find survey flags painted with sigils. Someone else's magic trying to claim the land. So they cast together. Not separate circles, but one big, imperfect oval that wove Druid algorithm into Dianic moon rhythms. The candy caps fruited overnight, carpeting the ground in sweet-smelling gold. The mushrooms pushed up through leaf litter in perfect spirals. And to them it looked like Druid patterns and Dianic patterns. Rowan swore she heard the trees sigh. Luna cried. Not graceful priestess tears, but the ugly kind that leaves salt in your collar. They drafted the Treaty of the Two Groves right there, using candy cap infused ink that smelled like Sunday pancakes and tasted of shared territory. The terms were simple. No more boundary spells. No more mushroom monopolies. Just guardianship of the contested ground, a monthly mycelial moon where both circles cast together, the Druid carved into the bay leaves, Dianic chants sung in Old Irish. The candy caps will be harvested communally, dried, ground and baked into bread and served in every equinox potluck. This is good. Word spread through the pagan underground faster than a Mercury retrograde mean. Covens from Oregon to Ojai started hosting their own treaty nights. Wiccan Reed meets Druid law. Fairy tradition blending with heathen kindreds. The country board, confused by the sudden unity, denied the developer's permit. The tech billionaire took his mindfulness retreat to Sedona instead. The forest stayed wild, the mushrooms kept fruiting, and the two groves became one living organism, talking to roots beneath the soil, whilst humans learned to speak a shared language above. Last I heard, Rowan and Luna co-officiate a quarterly mycelial marriage ritual where newcomers from any path, can come to taste the treaty bread and add their own stories to the network. They say that if you walk the path at dusk, you can still smell maple sweet mushrooms and hear two voices, one rough as bark and one soft as moonlight, singing the same protection chant in different accents. The war ended, not with victory, but with vocabulary. They learned to translate sacreds into each other's dialects and discovered it always meant, keep this alive. Another one I like, that is. Okay. Speak to you in a bit. Nick Dutch signing out. Thumbs up if you like it. Thumbs down twice if you don't like it. Rate, comment, subscribe.